Gévaudan, France, June 30th, 1764. On a warm summer morning in this farming region of south-central France, 14-year-old Jean Boulet leaves home to tend her flock of sheep. By sundown, she's dead. Murdered by a mysterious animal that reportedly mutilated her body, severed her head, and ripped out her heart.
Jean Boulet was the first documented casualty of a monster that many people believed was roaming around south-central France, beginning in the late spring of 1764. By the end of September, another 10 or so casualties, however, had appeared.
Le Bête du Gévaudan, also known as the Beast of Gévaudan, was a mysterious wolf-like creature which mounted a murderous rampage over a 3-year span within the 18th century. The beast frequently attacked women and young children who had been assigned the task of herding sheep and cattle in remote mountainous meadows, and in many cases they were rather defenseless and vulnerable.
Between 1764 and 1767, the so-called Beast of Gévaudan terrorized the Margeride mountain region of southern France. According to historical records, more than 100 people were brutally killed.
The Beast of the Gévaudan's ravages did incite panic among the people, and we know this largely from evidence from journalists and others who were commenting about the activities of the beast. By early 1765, newspapers all across France, and indeed all across Europe and in America, were reporting on the Beast of the Gévaudan, his exploits, the various hunts for the beast, the various mysteries surrounding it, which is why so many people were transfixed by this story.
There were many attempts to hunt down the beast. People in the Gévaudan region typically did not own guns, but there were posses formed, groups that would go out in the woods and literally beat the brush with pitchforks, sticks, knives, whatever types of weapons were available. However, the hunt for the beast really ramped up when King Louis XV became involved. He brought in a professional wolf hunter named Denneval, who allegedly killed over 100 wolves, but the killing still did not end.
According to multiple reports, the beast resembled a wolf, but was unlike any canine that was known to man.
Many of the local villagers noted as saying it resembles a very large wolf. But the Beast of Gévaudan attacked and killed people in a nature that was very unlike a wolf. The nature of these attacks, the way that this thing was decapitating people, disemboweling people, this was something completely different.
One of the reasons this becomes such a magnetic story is because there were always new, strange stories about the beast's behavior, its appearance, its strange abilities. The peasants on the ground were describing it as having the ability to walk on its hind legs, glowing eyes, and having 5 or 6 talons rather than 4. They didn't use the word werewolf. They used descriptions of this creature that made it easy to believe that this could indeed be a werewolf.
The Beast of Gévaudan is one of France's most enduring and popular mysteries. There are museums, there are statues, there are songs, there are stories. This was like a real-life nightmare. To this day, the Beast of Gévaudan is celebrated in French culture, and it really has a profound effect on people.
The descriptions of the beast were so terrifying that it's not surprising locals thought it was some kind of supernatural monster. But there were scientists at the time who proposed a different theory.
Among the many hypotheses that emerged was that the beast might be an African hyena. The hyena was this very mysterious creature that lots of naturalists and others wrote about in the 1750s and 60s.
The general description of the Beast of Gévaudan was a wolf-like creature, but bigger, the size of a mule or a calf perhaps. It had a large head. It had a long muzzle lined with razor-sharp teeth. pointy ears, a long tail with a tuft of fur on the end. The coat of fur was typically described as a reddish brown or gray, with a black stripe running down the back and a white breast. These are hyena-like characteristics.
Back in the day, kings and even people of status had exotic pets. They had exotic zoos. Who's to say that a hyena didn't escape? If you take a look at the victims, their chest cavities torn apart, their limbs missing, their heads decapitated, this all resembles attacks of a hyena.
Could the beast of Gévaudan have been an escaped African hyena? Perhaps. But some researchers have suggested a less exotic possibility.
There are a number of arguments for the beast of Gévaudan actually being a killer wolf. Wolves typically are very timid animals around humans, but there have been some 9,000 wolf attacks in France over the centuries. And there was also a theory that the beast attacks may have been perpetrated by a wolf that had come down with rabies.
According to experts, rabid wolves often lose their innate fear of humans and walk with a strange gait, which are behaviors described in the eyewitness accounts of the beast of Gévaudan. But while the rabid wolf theory may make sense, the best clue scientists have today about the beast's identity was obtained on the day it was reportedly killed.
The beast's reign of terror ended on June 19, 1767, when a local hunter named Jean Chastel felled the monster with one shot of a silver bullet. After Chastel shot this strange creature, the killings actually stopped, so everyone was in agreement that he had actually killed the beast. A surgeon who conducted an autopsy determined that while it resembled a wolf, it was not a wolf. And in fact, it possessed 40 teeth compared to a wolf's 42 teeth, which is quite strange. The beast's remains were paraded around the Gévaudan region for weeks thereafter. And by the time the carcass was taken to the Palace of Versailles and presented to King Louis XV, it was so smelly that he immediately demanded that it be removed from the palace. And to this day, nobody knows what happened to those remains. They vanished. Ultimately, while some people feel the Beast of Gévaudan may have been a supernatural phenomenon, the deaths, the occurrences documented, they're real. And the Beast of Gévaudan remains a great mystery.